to Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the amazing Spider-Man series, the OG comic series for the ages. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and what I love about Stan Lee is that he glazes up his books better than anyone else. He states on the cover that they have created the greatest villain for Spider-Man in Mysterio. Anything to sell those books, right? Y'all tell me, after what you all know about the Spider-Man villain group, is Mysterio the greatest villain to Spider-Man? I don't know. This issue is titled The Menace of Mysterio, and we see a confounding sequence. Has our boy Spider-Man really turned to a life of crime? Petty theft? Every indication makes it appear to be the real deal Spider-Man, leaping from windows and crawling up walls, using webbing and swinging from buildings on his webs, even using the old web parachute to escape. Maybe our boy Peter Parker really has turned to a life of crime. Either way, Spider-Man will be enemy number one with the cops and the papers. Like I said, Spider-Man is always the talk of the town. Now that the papers claim he robbed a bank, well, everyone is in a tizzy about our web-crawling hero. J. Jonah Jameson is also a confirmed character of Stan Lee himself, so of course he's boasting about being right about Spider-Man being a criminal menace. But Betty Brant isn't so sure. As Spider-Man has saved her life before, she just can't believe it. I guess this episode is about inspiration. I think, I cannot confirm it, but it seems like Betty Brant is based on this popular singer Keely Smith. She sang alongside Louis Prima and was super popular in the 50s and 60s. The resemblance is remarkable, right? And moving on to Peter's classmates, flipping on Spider-Man just like that. Everyone except Flash. Flash is a super fan and won't buy that Spider-Man as a baddie. Speaking of baddies, Liz looks like she was inspired by Doris Day. Doris Day's most popular movie was Pillow Talk in 1959, so the timing is right. Can y'all see the resemblance? The papers have got our boy Peter Parker sweating. Now, even he's questioning his own sanity. And I think Stan Lee and Jack Kirby used James Dean as the inspiration for Peter Parker's look. I mean, come on, James is even doing the Spider-Man moves here. Or maybe everyone tried to look like James Dean back then, even Peter Parker. Aunt May needs to keep her stuff together. Look, Peter Parker is in high school. Aunt May is the adult. Don't be pushing your financial problems on the young man. But she does, and all these problems in the finances and the news about Spider-Man is keeping Peter Parker up all night. The poor boy needs some rest. And the crap keeps piling up. The news is reporting Spider-Man did another crime last night. Peter's thinking he may have a split personality. I guess that is foreshadowing for the eventual symbiote storyline taking Spider-Man for nightly spins while Peter is totally unawares. But that's far down the road. Now, Spider-Man actually goes and visits a shrink to see if he is indeed crazy. This psychiatrist looks like he's actually trying to help Spider-Man. But Spider-Man comes to reality. He can't afford to risk revealing his true identity to this psychiatrist. It's time to bounce. Betty picks the wrong day to rib Peter for not selling any pictures lately to the paper. Maybe she was just trying to make some simple conversation, but with everything Peter is going through right now, he kind of snaps back at her. She's shocked. Well, yeah, if you can't say anything nice, don't say nothing at all. Triple J is in the best mood I've ever seen him in. With all these letters coming in hating on Spider-Man, he's in hog heaven. Peter tries to take advantage of his good mood and asks Jameson for a loan, so he doesn't get tossed out of his house. And what does Jameson say? Oh, hell no! And get the hell out! A bird can't change its feathers. So all these financial hardships makes you think it could really be Spider-Man robbing the banks. But if that's true, where's all the money? The public spots Spider-Man and starts chasing him down an alley. Boy, this guy is in hot water with the city. A typical situation here. My boy is walking down the street deep in thought. How's he gonna pay the bills? Is he a nighttime sleepwalking criminal? Real stuff. And here comes Liz, diddy bopping around the corner, not a care in the world, showing off her new hairdo, looking even more like Doris Day, I must say. But like a real man, Peter keeps his problems to himself, keeps the mood positive, even if he is walking around with a stank face everywhere. Back in Jameson's office, Mysterio just saunters in like he owns the place. Mysterio is a true entertainer. He's selling this whole bit big time. He gives Jameson a note to print, calling out Spider-Man for a fight atop the Brooklyn Bridge. Why does Spider-Man always fall for these obvious traps? He just can't help himself, can he? But he shows up for the meet and immediately starts taking wallops from Mysterio. How about some stealth or recon, Spider-Man? Spider-Man is overly cocky with his powers, but Mysterio is also pretty cocky as well and seemingly has an answer for everything Spider-Man has to offer, even his spider webs. How does Mysterio stop these webs midair? And now Mysterio is getting really cocky, saying there's no upper limits to his power. I'm sure all this is doing is pissing off Spider-Man. Once again, Spider-Man relies too much on his powers to bail him out. And looky here, his spider sense isn't working in the smoke for some reason. And now Spider-Man is just swinging blindly, allowing Mysterio to whoop his ass fairly easily. Unfortunately for our boy, Spider-Man has to turn tail and run, leaping off the bridge into the water, or simply remain and continue being Mysterio's punching bag. Mysterio 1, Spider-Man 0. Even the cops saw the battle and are announcing Mysterio's victory over Spider-Man. The shame! Spider-Man has to just swim away, go home, and tend to his pride, which took the biggest beating today. Aw, come on, man. Now Mysterio is getting a fancy parade down Main Street for beating up Spider-Man? This dude is totally full of it. Everyone is glazing up Mysterio except Flash. He's still a true believer in Spider-Man. It is funny that Peter Parker's biggest annoyance in real life is actually his biggest Spider-Man fan. Mysterio is getting all the hype and has made an agreement with Jameson to reveal his identity to the paper for a big payout. Jameson introduces Mysterio to Peter Parker. How funny. Nobody ever suspects Peter Parker to really be the real Spider-Man. Mysterio is clearly a trickster, but our boy Peter Parker has a bit of trickster in him as well. He slips a spider tracer onto Mysterio's cloak. Maybe now Spider-Man can get some answers and even the score with Mysterio. Peter's little ruse has got him grinning, and of course his girlfriend Betty thinks it's because he's cheating on her with Liz. Typical. Finally, Spider-Man is being smart, doing some recon on his enemies. He is using his spider tracker to hone in on Mysterio's location. But does Spider-Man learn? No! He leaps in once again, announcing himself, giving Mysterio time to defend himself. And just like in fight number 1, Mysterio beats that spider ass. That's now Mysterio 2-0 against Spider-Man. Now that Mysterio feels like he can't be beaten, he decides to spill his origin story to Spider-Man because why not? We all want to know. And the last inspiration guess. I feel like Mysterio's real face is based on Leonard Nimoy, Spock from the original Star Trek. I mean, they are the same, right? Mysterio was a stuntman, hell bent on imitating the moves of Spider-Man. Mysterio used all his time to create technologies that could mimic the moves and powers of Spider-Man, even creating a web shooter gun to mimic Spider-Man's webbing. He then starts committing crimes dressed as Spider-Man, which we saw in the beginning of this issue, so Spider-Man would take all the blame, and then he created Mysterio in order to be the one to defeat Spider-Man and get all the glory. Probably because stuntmen do all the hard work in the movies and never get any of the glory or the money as the face actors do. Mysterio even built in a sonar into his suit in order to help him fight while in the clouds, but also can jam Spider-Man's spidey senses. Spider-Man is just sitting there like a kindergartner listening to story time, all the while recording the conversation, which he will definitely use to clear his good name. Spider-Man must be thinking that third time's the charm. He's been whooped twice fighting Mysterio in this fog, but he amps up the speed attack and finally connects, knocking Mysterio back with a super strength right through the television studio set. I think it's interesting the TV show being filmed is a space show. I think it's like a little Easter egg to prove Mysterio's human look was based on Leonard Nimoy. Normally, we see the villains are chasing Spider-Man around trying to get him, but not here. The turntables have, well, it's still the same game Spider Man loves to play, catch me if you can, but this time Spider Man is the chaser. Spider Man isn't messing about anymore. Now he knows Mysterio is just a loser in a tech suit. He can up his efforts, even bringing his sarcasm back into the fight, and really lets Mysterio have it, finally giving Mysterio the super uppercut, launching him way back. Now that Spider Man has his actual hands on Mysterio, it's much easier to land punches on him. Spider Man even has time to set up his camera to catch pics of the fight because old Peter Parker still needs that cashola. Spider Man makes easy work of Mysterio this time, even says beating Mysterio is a breeze, carrying his unconscious body out of the area like a farmer carrying a sack of potatoes. So, how can Mysterio be the greatest villain to Spider Man when Spider Man calls beating him a breeze? Spider Man drops Mysterio off at the cops, which broke him. Mysterio spills the beans that he's the bank robber that frames Spider Man. Oh man, Jameson can't take this kind of egg on his face. He's back to being a laughing stock when it comes to lies about Spider Man. As sad as Jameson is, his spirits immediately jump back up when he sees the epic pics on his desk. Time for Parker to get paid. I love it when Spider Man gets a little bit of revenge on Jameson, swinging in and webbing him up like a crook that he is. Maybe not a crook in a traditional sense, but he's stealing people's opinions about Spider Man and replacing them with lies. I hope he had to hang up there for hours, maybe even had to pee his pants a little. And Flash gets a little retribution as well, as Spider Man's #1 fan got even more fanatical now that Spider Man's name is free and clear again. How fun are these old Amazing Spider Man stories? It always makes my day reading through them. I hope y'all enjoy them as much as I am. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.